I finally read Teaching from Rest by Sarah Mackenzie, and I have a lot of thoughts to share. Hi everyone, welcome back to Project Happy Home. For those of you who don't know, I'm Tanya, an MD-JD turned stay-at-home mom who is homeschooling 3 kids ages 7, 4, and 2. This is our very first year of homeschooling, and I've decided to start a book review series as I learn more and more about homeschooling and parenting in general. If you're interested in book reviews about parenting and homeschooling, I hope you will hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss any of my reviews. The very first book I'll be reviewing is Teaching from Rest by Sarah Mackenzie. I have meant to buy this for a while because so many other homeschoolers have recommended it to me. I have hesitated, however, because I am a secular homeschooler, and this book comes from a very Christian worldview and perspective. That being said, however, I was really impressed, and if not for the very strong Christian perspective in the book, I would have given it 5 stars for sure. If you are a secular homeschooler, but you don't react negatively to a Christian worldview or a Christian viewpoint, or a godly viewpoint, then I would give this 5 stars. So for me, it was 5 stars for sure. I think it's a must read for any homeschooler. If, however, a Christian worldview or a religious viewpoint makes you feel less than or somehow marginalized, then it might not be for you. I do, however, encourage you to give it a shot because it is a beautifully written book that is chock full of homeschooling wisdom. It is a very slim volume, less than 100 pages. You can read it in one evening or a couple nights, I'm sure. It reads very easily. In spite of how slim it is, it's really a book to savor. I feel like I'm going to reread this book year after year. This is definitely not going in my donate pile. One of my favorite things about the book was that it's scattered throughout with beautiful contemplative quotes, both from classical philosophers as well as some of our contemporary homeschooling gurus. And another thing I loved was her own words. They are measured and gorgeous and weighty in how much they mean to her and how much significance they can have to all homeschoolers. So I was really impressed with this book. It was not cloying at all, in spite of the fact that it comes from a very deeply religious perspective. It wasn't cloying. I wasn't offended. I think that there is a lot to be said for spirit and encouraging the spirit. And if you can replace perhaps the idea of a Christian God, if you are not Christian, with that concept, it might be an easier read for you. She places a lot of value on cherishing the days you have with your children, the moments you have with your children, instead of this grand big curriculum plan that you might have laid out for yourself, or this idea in your head of how homeschooling should be. She places a lot of emphasis on looking at yourself and your children and finding a balance between what they need to learn and your relationship with them. And so cultivating your relationship is a real emphasis in this book, and she describes it so beautifully, the whys and whats and hows of how she goes about doing that and how we might as well. She also emphasizes that we should be true to ourselves as homeschooling parents in this journey. We might want to do a lot of arts and crafts. We might want to go on a lot of nature walks, and then we start doing those things and we realize, you know what, that's not who I am. That's not right for me as a parent and as a person. And if you do things grudgingly with like a martyr's heart, then that translates to your children as well. And she talks a lot about how bringing who you truly are to your homeschool is beneficial for your kids. Try to find out what kinds of things you enjoy that can also bring them encouragement and nourishment and fulfillment. So there has to be this blending of both your children's desires as well as your own, your children's personalities as well as your own, in order to create a good homeschool balance. For example, I think one of the things she says in there is that we should figure out what drives us as women, as people, as parents, and then as a person, as an individual, and then let our children shine within that atmosphere that we create that nourishes us as well. Another concept that she emphasizes is simplifying your homeschool. So to cut back and cut back and cut back until you feel relaxed and can teach from a place of rest. And so thereby do less, but do it well. and better than you had before when you had an immense checklist of things to get through. I especially loved how, in spite of the very broad overarching philosophical concepts of enjoying our children and relishing the day and moving through this world with grace, she also had lots of really practical tips in here about how to do that. So one of those things is, as I said, to cut back, and simplify. But she goes through a stepwise checklist of how you can go about doing that. She also talks about how it's really important to schedule for less time than you have. So for example, if you have 4 or 5 good hours of the day to homeschool, schedule in just for perhaps 3 or 4 of those hours, because things happen, children will be children, we will have plenty of things to deal with, and instead of setting ourselves up for failure and scheduling our day from sunup to sundown, put in a lot of margin time so that we ourselves feel a little bit more relaxed and can ease into our days and adjust to the speed and rhythm of our children's lives as well. As you can tell, I highlighted quite a bit of this book. One thing I loved is that she does include personal photographs of herself and her children in the book. Some of the pictures are so lovely. I think this one was probably my very favorite. Really, I thought this was a must read. So if you haven't picked up Teaching from Rest, A Homeschooler's Guide to Unshakable Peace yet, I strongly suggest you do so, whether you are a religious homeschooler or a secular homeschooler. It really was a very beautiful book and beautifully written as well. So thank you so much, Sarah Mackenzie, for writing this book for all of us. And if you guys haven't checked out Sarah Mackenzie's website, readaloudrevival.com, that's another great resource for book reading lists, as well as a membership that she has, which involves author meet and greets online. And we recently signed up for the membership, and I love it. We've only done one author event, and my son and I had the best time. We met John Klassen, the author of the Hat books. We were just enthralled for the entire hour and a half that we were in this webinar. So I hopefully will do a review on just the membership later. But as far as this book is concerned, it was a winner in my book. And again, 5 stars for me. I think it's a must read. If you have real issues with a book from a Christian viewpoint, perhaps 4 stars. But for me, definitely 5 stars. Even as a secular homeschooler, pick it up. You will not be disappointed, I promise you. As always, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate it so much, especially the people who take the time to comment. It's so fun to engage with the homeschooling community here on YouTube. If you like this video and want to see more book reviews like this, please hit the subscribe button down below, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.